Peter Bogdanovich, one of my favorite directors, a director I could listen to talk all day, recently passed away. Well, he passed away just yesterday. For those who aren't really familiar with Bogdanovich, he was part of the new wave of American cinema in the 1970s. Anyone that's not sure of what that is, in the late 60s, there was a major shift in the way American films were made. So you had things like Easy Rider and Bonnie. You had things like Easy Rider really push the whole freedom, and motorcycle hippie kind of thing, like in marijuana jive. And then you had Bonnie and Clyde really pushed the violence. But in the 1970s was ultimately when there was that big boom of new directors emerge. Everyone knows Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola and Brian De Palma. Well, they were part of that. Robert Altman really started that in the 1970s, that is, with MASH in 1970. But the first masterpiece was Peter Bogdanovich's Paper Moon, well, no, The Last Picture Show. He has done quite a few good films. Everyone always identifies with The Last Picture Show being his best. But the last really good film that Bogdanovich did was Mask from 1985. I'll get around to reviewing Mask some other time, but today I want to talk about Bogdanovich's, well, my favorite Bogdanovich film, which is Paper Moon. Paper Moon is it's my favorite film of his. It's pretty similar to The Last Picture Show, in the sense that it's black and white when it really didn't when it really wasn't, when they're trying to get away from all the black and white kind of nature. Now, The Last Picture Show is no. Last Picture Show is was kind of a depressing, dry film, while this one just wanted to have the black and white look to it to match the 1930s, because the movie takes place during the Great Depression. While in The Last Picture Show, Bogdanovich simply wanted to make the film look very dry and ugly. Now, this film right here is best known for having Ryan and Tatum O'Neal in it. Ryan O'Neal was pretty big in the 70s. He did things like this and What's Up, Doc, and Barry Lyndon. Barry Lyndon, the Stanley Kubrick film, being probably his best known film. And his daughter Tatum O'Neal won the Oscar for this. The youngest Oscar winner in a competitive category. She wasn't the youngest nominee. The youngest nominee is still, for a major category, is still Justin Henry for Kramer versus Kramer. But the youngest winner in a competitive category, Tatum O'Neal for Paper Moon. Now, usually when you think of little kids, like Tatum O'Neal, she was 9 when she made this. She was 10 when she won. Usually the Oscar ceremony takes place a year after the film's release. Yeah, as a 9-year-old, like, she's so adorable, but is she really a good actress? Like, or is she just adorable? She knocks out of the park, trust me. She was up against Linda Blair for The Exorcist, which is the better film, of course. But was Tatum O'Neal better than Linda Blair? I do think so, actually. The main reason is Linda Blair, although she does do a fabulous job in The Exorcist, throughout most of the film, like when the movie really gets kicked into high gear, she's buried underneath a ton of makeup, and that's not her voice. Like as the film progresses, while in this one, Tatum O'Neal has no makeup, and she's just this spunky sort of hard-edged, hard-nosed little kid. And yeah, usually with kids like under the age of 10, like Linda Blair was 12 or 13 when she did The Exorcist, and Tatum O'Neal was 9. With the kids that young, they're not really great at acting. Like it's kind of rare when you find really good performances from children that young. And Tatum O'Neal is able to find that. She's able to find this really memorable little girl that is so layered and so cool, so full of such conviction and believability that you hardly ever get. And yeah, she teams up with her dad. Well, in real life, Ryan O'Neal is her dad. In the movie, they're not they're not related. But yeah, the movie's about Tatum O'Neal, whose mother passes away, and she meets up with Ryan O'Neal, who's a con artist, and he also knew Tatum O'Neal's mother, and rumor has it that they might be related, but he knows that's not true. And yeah, he's a traveling con artist during the Great Depression, and she becomes his accomplice. And even though she's a 9-year, even though she's just a little kid, she still has more brains than he does. This movie, really funny, really enjoyable, pretty exciting also at times. It's a road film. People that know me know how much I love road trip films, and yeah, this movie right here is just so enjoyable. I just love every little thing about this. Tatum O'Neal gives one of my favorite top 10 favorite performances of the 70s. That is, she's as good as like Meryl Streep in Kramer versus Kramer and Marlon Brando in Lost Tango in Paris. So she's as good as them. And yeah, sometimes I can be a little bit lenient with kids, but in this case, I think that she's just perfect. Yeah, she won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. She should not have won for that. She should have won Best Lead because she's a kind of more important than Ryan O'Neal is. It's like they're both the protagonists of the film, but yeah, she really should have won Best Lead Actress. Yeah, this is my favorite Peter Bogdanovich film. I gotta give it 4 stars.